Hey everybody, welcome back to our month of poetry prompts taken from the Allegany State Park, although you can write about anywhere. If you're from New York though and you know this park, write about that. There's so much to write about here. And today's prompt is just what you saw, which is not flowers, but tiny moments of wonder, right? Which might be flowers, right? You can write about that, especially at haiku. I hope Tom Thomas is writing this month because his haikus are just, they're brilliant. You can see them down below in my previous videos, probably, if he's writing about it this time. He was writing all through June. But today it's the tiny moments of wonder. I might write about flowers. I find them fascinating both from a aesthetic point of view, but also a scientific point of view. Every wildflower has its own biome. You know, it's supporting all this life. I might write about that. I might write about a moment that just flashed before me where I encountered flowers. Now, I've not written the best poem about this. The person who wrote the best poem about this was William Wordsworth. He wrote a poem called I Wander Lonely as a Cloud that you probably know better by its ending, which is, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. Right? And it's like, oh, it's just so wonderful. And we're trying to get that same kind of thing. Now, if you don't want to write about flowers, which I understand, you might write about other moments of wonder. Just these flashes where you see something and it's like, oh, wow, I'm alive at this moment. I see it. Coming over here, we came over a hill and we looked down into the town of Randolph and it was half covered in fog. And you could see the buildings, but it was just kind of a mystical, wonderful spot. I could write about that. I could write about the first time I've written about this several times actually. The first time I ever saw a satellite passing by at night, you know, they go very fast, man-made satellites. I didn't know that you could see satellites, and suddenly there was this thing moving, and I just didn't know what it was. And by the time it got across, I figured out what it probably was, and then I looked it up. And I was, you know, I was a little guy, I think I asked an adult, and they told me. There wasn't a lot of satellites that you could see back then, so it was a moment of wonder, that flash of recognition that things aren't exactly as you see. So what are you going to write about? When you get it, put it down below, and I will see you tomorrow.
Like and subscribe.